The MapleStory Milestone Showcase was last night, and I'm going to tell you every single thing that you need to know about this incredible, huge update. So right off the bat, we need to talk about their thoughts behind making this update. A lot of this update is focused more around new players, which in my opinion is really good. There is some endgame stuff, and I'm going to give my opinion on how they're handling the endgame towards the end of this video, but this was a really long showcase, and there is so much that got revealed, and it's really exciting. So let's begin. The first thing we need to talk about is Shade and Aran getting remastered. I was so shocked when I saw these classes getting remastered. Holy shit, dude. Like, I couldn't believe it. At first, I was like, I thought Phantom and Lumi needed it more, but I honestly think they're gonna get their remasters, but I feel like they're only doing 2 classes at a time, so they started with Aran and Shade. And holy moly, these remasters make every other remaster that came out look like absolute trash. Like, the amount of effort they put into Aran and Shade versus the other classes in the past is insane. Like, Aran and Shade, their animations look so insane. They literally even got pretty much new skills and literally like a different playstyle as well. They made it so much better. So let's talk about the rewards that you can get for Aran and Shade. The craziest part is that in the milestone update, there's going to be separate hyperburns for Aran and Shade only. So you can hyperburn Aran and Shade and also have a separate hyperburn for any class that you want. So they're literally giving you a free level 260 Aran and Shade. Like, it's actually crazy for new players or somebody who just wants a really strong boss meal. I don't see why anybody wouldn't just use this to just go crazy on Aran and Shade. They give you a ton of rewards. They give you even a unique emblem. You usually don't get an extra emblem from doing a hyperburn, and they give you the OP ring selector. And the coolest part is you get this title that's actually perm, and it's best in slot too. 20 all stat, 10 attack, and 10 boss perm title for Aran and Shade, which is actually crazy. That little strawberry coupon looking thing that helps you train so much faster. It's a coupon that allows you to go to a separate instance map where you could get levels really quickly. And you get a bunch of Aran and Shade exclusive NX. Any Aran and Shade can claim this exclusive NX, not just new ones. The previous rewards with the emblem stuff, I believe that's just for new Aran and Shades. But any Aran and Shade could claim the pet, the damaged skin, the effects, the chair, and the background for the stats window. They even dropped IRL Aran and Shade merch. Basically, it's these books that give the lore of their story. So like I said before, they really want to push towards the new player experience getting way faster at the early game. This is something that I've talked about personally in depth a lot, how I think the early game needs a massive improvement for new players, and this is a huge step in the right direction. They showed us some of the Aran and Shade remastered skills. The Aran origin skill looks so cool now. Before it was kind of weird. It even works differently now. It's just like a giant nuke instead of like a 2-part origin. And the skills just have way bigger hitboxes. They give Aran a summon that can help you mob, and basically like a Lord of the Deep type skill that just floats around you while you're in adrenaline that helps you train. They wanted to make the class more fluid and stronger even outside of adrenaline, so it doesn't feel like the class is only playable only in adrenaline, which I think is really good. And then for Shade, it's the same thing. They made the animations way bigger. The origin skill looks way more insane as well. The True Spirit Claw, the big one, just the cooldown is so low on it. And they made the Shade burst way more condensed as well. They even gave it a summon to help it train as well. They reworked some of the skills, like that V skill that summons all those like purple spirits. Like, they made it way more flashy and bigger now as well. They're saying how a lot of people didn't like that skill. The origin looks so insane. The giant 9-tailed fox in the back. Super excited about the Aran and Shade remaster. Now let's move on to some of the quality of life that they implemented. I could not believe it when I saw this. I was literally so shocked. So the first thing they implemented is this thing called a MapleStory scheduler. So what this is it keeps track of all your dailies, weeklies, weekly bosses, quests, your monthly bosses, everything for you, and it's customizable. So you could put what you want there and it'll tell you if you've cleared it or not. So everything is all in one UI now, and it tells you what you need to do, what you still have to do, what you've already done. This is absolutely insane and so huge for making the game actually playable. You would not believe. I'll actually show you the spreadsheets that I used to have just to keep track of all of my dailies across my characters. I used to legit have to make a spreadsheet, my own custom made, just to keep track of everything, had to tick everything and all that stuff, and now it's just built into the game, which is insanely good. Now, the next thing that they mentioned is they want to make the 0 to 200 leveling experience pretty much non-existent anymore. They realized that the game basically starts at level 200 now, so they're making 0 to 200 training completely brain dead and super fast, which I am super in favor of. They made a new questline called Main Story Questline, basically. If you've ever played Final Fantasy XIV, it's literally exactly like that. So you have your class job quests that are specific to whatever job you are, and then you have your main story quest. And if you follow the main story quest from level 10, you'll make it to level 200 in no time. All you have to do is just complete the main story quest. You don't even have to go out of your way to do any extra training or anything like that. Just follow the main story quest, and it'll take you through the story, and you'll be good to go to level 200, which I think is amazing. Training guides aren't even going to be relevant anymore. You just follow the main story quest and you're level 200 and you're done. They also changed it in the guide. You could just teleport to any map that's in the guide, and there's no like prerequisite condition to unlock the teleport to go to an area. You could just go wherever you want now. Now, this one is really, really cool. So on the top right of your screen, there's like a million different buffs, right? While you're bossing, they changed the way that buffs appear on the top right of your screen. So they're actually filtered by what kind of buffs they are. So the top row is your own self buffs from your own class. The row below that is buffs from other classes. Row below that is world buffs, basically like G skills and roar and stuff like that. And then below that is consumables like red and green pot. So this way it makes it way easier for people to know what kind of buffs they have and they don't have, so you don't forget anything. They even implemented a feature that makes it so that like you can put in the buffs bar what buffs you still need, and it'll tell you if you have them or not, or remind you of them, which is really sick. You would not believe how many people just forget their buffs all the time. Now, this is the one that made me really lose my marbles, to be honest with you. They made it so that you can swap characters in game. You don't have to relog anymore. If you guys have ever played any other MMO or any other game, this is a feature that literally every game has besides MapleStory. You can legit just swap characters without having to relog. I could not believe this. For people who have multiple boss mules or multiple mains, this is such a huge quality of life. You can just swap to any character you want in an instant. Like, oh my god. Actually game breaking. I don't think this has been talked about enough. It's completely revolutionary for this game, to be honest with you. Think about it. From day one, from this game's creation, you always had to relog and go to a different character. Now you could just swap while in game. Now moving on to the bosses, basically what they did is they made it so that you can skip the cutscenes during bosses, which is so good. You know how many times people lose buffs in the middle of cutscenes? How annoying it is to just phase through a boss and you have to see the same cutscene over and over and over and over and over again. So good. You could just instantly go to the next phase in the boss and not waste your time. They changed the V matrix so that when you're level 200, you have 12 node slots unlocked instead of 7. And then when you have it maxed out, you have 30 node slots instead of 25. The reasoning behind this is they didn't want to make nodes complicated anymore. They just want nodes to be really easy because stuff under 260 has been out for so long now, and they don't want people confused about this type of stuff anymore. On top of that, this one's crazy. There's no such thing as looking for your boost node trios anymore. You can just choose whatever skill you want as a trio now. So this makes maxing nodes infinitely easier, and there's no such thing as this is a hard class to max nodes on. No, that's just not a thing anymore. You can get max trios and the correct trios on any class you want now without any problems, which is insane. There's so many times where people will ask like, should I play a Demon Slayer boss move? And I'll say, oh no, the boost nodes are a little hard. You're gonna need a lot of nodes. That's just like not a thing anymore. You can just choose whatever boost nodes you want now, and it makes it so easier. So many people are confused when they first get to 200 why they have all these billion different skills and what trios are, what's a perfect trio, what's the leading skill in the trio, blah 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 blah. Now you just pick the trio you want and you're good. And now for 6th job, they reduced the amount of XP you need to unlock 6th job by 85%. Let me put it this way for those who don't know how long it takes to get 6th job unlocked. Basically, it takes, like at max efficiency, it takes around 3 hours to unlock 6th job. So you hit 260 and then you got to fill up these stones. And if you're super strong, you could train in Grandis right away, right? And it takes like 3 hours of training in Grandis just to unlock these things. If you were training in Limb, it would take like 8 hours plus, right? Now it's reduced by 85%. That means you can unlock your 6th job in like 15 minutes now. Absolutely insane, especially for upcoming hyper burns, right? So many people are going to have 260 plus characters now. They made it so much easier to get to 6 job. Now, this one was a little bit weird. I'm not sure if they reduced the Genesis liberation requirement, but I think that they just made a UI to make it easier. I don't think the time it takes to lib got reduced. Basically, what they did is you don't need to get a fragment anymore from killing the boss. You just have to kill the boss now, and that's it, and it counts towards your lib. You don't have to like worry about forgetting to pick up your fragment or anything like that. And there's a UI that just makes it so much easier. Oh yeah, and also they are implementing MapleStory on Mac OS soon, which is actually pretty huge because so many people have an Apple device. So this is going to open up MapleStory to literally millions and millions of people potentially. Now let's talk about the new boss Limbo. Yo, I got straight chills when I saw Limbo. So Limbo is a brand new boss for the end game, level 285 plus. It's a Carcian boss, and this boss is insane. It's actually just straight chills looking at it. So it's going to be a 3-phase boss, so you know it's going to be a big deal. So Limbo, they were hyping this up so much, saying it's by far the hardest boss they've ever created, and it's not going to be easy at all. So obviously that could just be hype, but I really think they got to make it super hard because the end game has just been clearing everything at this point, and we need something incredibly hard to come out. Now Limbo drops 2 main rewards, right? The first thing that you can get from Limbo is the rest of the Eternal set. I couldn't believe it when they showed off all 3 of the remaining pieces, the shoe, the cape, and the glove. Especially the glove, I couldn't believe it. And the Eternal set goes to 8 set now, giving you 40 attack, 15 boss on every single one of the sets, and then 50 additional all stat on the 7th set. Yo, I couldn't believe it, bro. Now people are gonna have the full Eternal set unlocked. This means that Arcanes have officially been replaced after all these years. They're not the best in slot gear anymore. And on top of that, this one is crazy. They revealed a brand new level 250 ring called Whisper of Pain. Dude, this ring is insanely OP. The stats on it are crazy. Like, hypothetically, if you had some random, like, 17-star KT or something on, and then you got this ring, bro, this ring would be better than, like, a 22 KT at, like, 18 stars. Like, this ring stats are crazy. On top of that, this ring is part of a brand new pitch boss set. They're saying that the pitch boss set, they want to replace it with an even better set coming out now. So now pitch boss and a gear set that we thought was going to last forever is not forever anymore. There's a brand new pitch boss set. We don't know what it's called yet, but this is the first item in the new set, this ring. So obviously we have 4 ring slots, right? It doesn't mean that we don't wear ET anymore. We are just going to also wear this, which is pretty crazy. They changed the way that the enhancement cores work on the pitch boss set. So for example, if you guys don't know, the extreme versions of bosses like Black Mage, Saren, Kalos, and Kaling, they have a very small chance of dropping this like enhancement core that you could put on your current pitch boss set. So for example, let's say you clear Extreme Black Mage, you'll get the Lucid Belt enhancement, and if you have a Lucid Belt, you can put that on the belt, and the belt gets even more stats on top of it right now, right? So they changed it so that you can remove the enhancement off of the pitch boss set item and put it on the new super pitch boss set. So for example, if you have your Endless Terror enhanced by killing an extreme boss, you can move that enhancement to the new ring, and the new ring can have 3 enhancements on it instead of just 1 like the ET. Basically what that means is the new ring stats, if it's maxed out, are out of this world. Like the stats on it are completely broken. Now let's move on and talk about the new things that they're doing to Hexa. So this one is very controversial. A lot of people got upset with this, but basically they're only doing more Hexa stats. They did Hexa stat 2, and the requirement for Hexa stat 2 is you need to be level 265 and have the original Hexa stat already maxed out at level 20. So the reasoning for this is they feel that the player base at large is already too strong, and they don't want to just keep giving us more and more skills because we'll just be way too OP, which in all honesty, I understand, but it does, in my opinion, like take away some of the hype because we really were looking forward to new skills. Like at this rate, it's going to take so many years to unlock all of the skills if they keep doing it like this. If we get like 1 skill a year or something, there's so many slots in the Hexa Hexa Matrix that are not unlocked yet. But yeah, so Hexa Stats 2, this is a pretty good power boost, to be honest with you. This gives everybody like around 3 to 4 FD once you max it out as well, which, you know, pretty good DPS increase, I guess. Let's talk about the actual event, right? Like the event map, the shop, and all that stuff. So the event is going to be about the time before Black Mage. So before like Von Leon, Hilla, Will, and Arcarium became evil when they were younger and in their youth and stuff like that. So that's what the event is about. It's about like super ancient history. The event is called A Page in Memories. So basically they redesigned this event to be super easy for players who are not super active while they play the game, right? Usually how these events work is there's things that you have to do multiple times a week to unlock all the rewards. They designed it so that you could just bang it all out in one day now and get all the rewards if you really want to, which is huge, to be honest with you, because not everybody can play every single day. Some people can only play on weekends or something like that, so they're not gonna miss anything anymore, which is really, really cool. And it's the standard, right? Like you get a ton of nodes, XP pots, symbols, flames, honor, all that stuff. It's super, super, super good. A massive amount of resources as usual, but there's more actually. There's more. So what they're doing is they're also allowing you to get customizable shops. So for example, a lot of players don't need honor, for example, if they already finished their inner ability. They're allowing you to kind of choose what items you want more of in the shop at the cost of losing some other items that you don't need, which is really, really, really smart, because a lot of people in the end game or people in the early game, they don't have enough of the resource that they need at the moment to progress. And they're allowing you to use these growth pots on your hyperburns to make it even faster to level up. Now let's talk about all the different shops. So there's the usual like standard shop that gives you growth pots. The scrolls is like reg server stuff, so like a lot of heroic players don't need that. And there's the strawberry coupon, which I mentioned earlier, allows you to enter like a strawberry farm type event that allows you to level up super, super, super fast. Now what's really cool about the boss shop is the boss shop rewards, they're going to be determined by how strong you are in the Punch King during this event. So basically you're gonna hit like a standard Punch King dummy and it's gonna give you a score. The higher score that you get, the more the shop unlocks. So people who are hyper endgame actually get really rewarded for that, and they get these insanely OP items. But people who are weaker, you still get really good items, but you don't get the super insanely OP items, which I know it sounds like whack, but let me put it this way. A lot of the super insanely OP items at the end game, they're not really relevant to you early game, right? Of course, in my opinion, I think it would be better if everybody just got everything, but this way you're more incentivized to progress way further because you can get actually like really good items for yourself. They also said that there's a problem with people just carrying each other and then getting all the items for themselves without actually putting in any effort for it. So there's actually a new flame that they created. We don't know the name of it, but I'm just going to call it the super black flame, and it only rolls between tier 5 to tier 7 flames. So what that means is the chance to get a super fat juicy flame on that is exponentially higher than any other flame before, which is wild. There's also mini games for this event that help you get way more XP. Now there's the Gold Richie safe as well. The Gold Richie safe is basically like this super RNG, you have to be ultra mega god level luck to win the items, and the items that you can win are of course insanely overpowered. So you can win a super crazy damage skin, a vac pet, and what's most interesting, this new thing that they showed, is you can win a level 5 Oz Ring selector coupon. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. Level 5 Oz Ring selector coupon? Like, bro, somebody's gonna be walking around with a Roar 5 at like level 200. Like, that's actually so broken. So this is actually really funny. They're also making a new like Star Force stage basically, and this Star Force stage makes it so that somebody can go on stage and Star Force in front of everybody, and you can funnel that person money so that they can keep starring on the stage, which is very interesting. I don't know how that's going to work in heroic worlds, but it sounds fun. They also reworked the events tab. So the events tab is just going to have every single event that's going on at a given time, and it's going to be super easy to know what's happening and how long the event lasts and what rewards you can get from the event. Super good for new players and makes this game way more easy to understand. Now this one is pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. This is something that I've talked about personally that I think is an issue with the game, but they're making a new type of burning called item burning. So what this means is basically when you do your hyper burn, there's going to be quests specific hyperburn quests along the way that you could do, killing certain bosses, and you're gonna get rewarded for doing them. So they made this new set called like the Challenger set for hyperburns, and it has 18-star gear with really good potentials. So like 18-star CRA, 18-star Absol, and stuff like that, and a specific set effect that gives you a stupid amount of stats: 30 boss, 30 IED. It's all 18 stars, 145 attack from the set. Like, it's broken as hell. The reason they want to give players these sets is they realize that when you get the hyperburn, the gear that they give you is not really good enough to actually start clearing bosses. So even if you're high level, you're going to be super weak, right? But now they give you this set that lasts for pretty much like 3 to 4 months. So that's way more than enough time you need to abuse this item set to get the actual really good gear. So they're making it so that if a new player walks into this game and hits 260 with hyperburn, they're actually going to be able to continue to progress after that because they have a really good gear. So after that, they released more NX sets. I am praying that we get these NX sets. They released the Explorer one before, so now they have a Cygnus NX set, and they have a Heroes of MapleStory NX set, which it looks so good. Like, please. There's also these titles that are just extremely broken that give you like 30 boss and 30 IED and more XP and stuff like that. That goes along with these sets, which is so insanely strong. They also talk about MapleStory partners. So real quick, basically what this is people who make third-party apps or third-party websites that help MapleStory players. Nexon is going to actually reward you and work with these developers to make that type of stuff like way more professional and way more accessible to most players, which is really cool. People should be rewarded for their efforts. They also announced a MapleStory cafe like IRL in Jeju Island in Korea, which is really cute. It looks super nice. There's a lot of plushies and stuff like that and merch that you could buy there. So shout out to the Korean Maplers. They are eating with that one. Now, the next thing that they talked about is this new epic dungeon. So think of something like High Mountain. There's a new one now that's at level 270 that gives you a ton of resources. So you could either choose to get XP and Soul Urda. For Heroic, it's probably going to be changed to Fragments, which is really good. Or you can choose to get only XP or only Soul Urda, but you get a way more massive amount of it. They didn't show any like footage of this new epic dungeon, but just know that it's probably going to come in the future as well. They left this towards the end, but there is a new area that is being announced, a level 290 area, which is crazy. 290 is a very high level, but now for those hyper endgamers that are 290 plus, there is a brand new area for them. It's called like Tarahat or something like that. Tarahat, which is pretty cool. So basically this 290 area is going to have obviously new mobs and stuff like that, which can give you way more XP. But the craziest thing about this is you get a new symbol that's separate from the standard sack symbols, right? This new symbol at max level gives you 50% passive more XP, 15% more meso, and 15% drop, which is crazy. They've never done this before. So basically the rich get richer, I guess, because they just get additional mesos and drop, which is wild. So they also realized that a level 290 area is not going to be accessible to most people. So when that area comes out, there's going to be an event that corresponds with that time period that's going to be about that area, so most people can feel like they've experienced the area before, which, I mean, I guess, bro. They're also releasing this brand new content in the game called Asmos Canyon, and they didn't reveal too much about it, but basically they're saying that you can get mesos and certain items from it. They kept it super vague. People are speculating that it's something along the lines of like Ursus that you can do to just give you more mesos, which is a good thing. We always want an additional meso source. And now last but certainly not least, they are announcing a brand new collaboration with Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer. So MapleStory X Demon Slayer and MapleStory X Dave the Diver. So obviously there's going to be a ton of NX, but they want it to actually be a functional event as well with fun activities to do, not just NX. I am beyond excited for the Demon Slayer one. Anybody knows me, I love Demon Slayer. I have a lot of Demon Slayer merch. Shinobu is one of my favorite characters in that show. She's one of my favorite characters in all of anime, period. So I just can't wait to see if they have any NX for her or anything like that. It's gonna be so cool, especially as a Haido player. How can you not be excited for a Demon Slayer collab? Like, that's the one collab that we would have wanted. And at the end of it, they also announced just a massive amount of free rewards to show appreciation for all the people that showed up. Just a ton of free resources, coupons and nodes and frags and all that stuff. And then at the end, the director went off script. He was freestyling for a little bit and he was saying how he apologizes for all of the hardships that sometimes XCOM puts them through, and they're working really, really hard to make the game as fun as possible, and that he knows that a lot of people are going to be disappointed by not having a new 6 job unlock, but he really thinks it's very, very important for the bosses in this game to be super hard and for the content to be harder than the amount of damage we have right now. So just giving us so much free damage will just make everything irrelevant, and the end gamers realize this, that having too much damage is not good for the long-term health. So that's basically it for the milestone update. Please let me know what you think about it. In all honesty, in my opinion, they basically chose to prioritize the new player experience. There's a lot of quality of life, a lot of changes for things that are less than 260, and in my opinion, people might hate me for saying this, but I think this is the right choice. I know it's disappointing to not get a massive amount of content for the end game. We did get some stuff, but we didn't get a tremendous amount of stuff. But I really believe that the early game problems are more important. Playing in Hyperion and seeing how many people are new to the game and how hard it is for the game to stick around, and streaming and interacting with you guys every single day. So many of you are new players, and you tell me about how you quit, how you didn't like this, how you couldn't figure out certain things. It's very sad. So I really like that they made the new player experience way easier and way more friendly, and things are just way more simple in the game. Like nodes, for example, they just made it so that you can get your trios whenever you want. I think that's huge, and having new players is always good. It's always a good thing for the game. I do know for sure that they're just going to keep increasing the end game stuff, but I really feel like they just want to flesh out the early game first, and then they're going to focus on the end game stuff later. So I think we just have to like tank for now, but long term it'll be fine. Now, another interesting thing about this is I think for the hyper end gamers, this is a perfect opportunity to second main something if that's what you want to do. I think second maining when you're at the end game, when you're 290 plus, is literally like the only thing that you can do. There's no fragments for new skills that you need. There's no new area past 290 that you need. The new boss is only level 285, so your level's fine. All that stuff, right? So if you want to do a second main, now's the chance you could do it, because you're not going to be losing anything on your main. But for newer players, look forward to this event. It gives you so many nice things, and it's going to make the transition from 260 to 275 just way easier. Way easier. We're going to see a lot of people hitting 275 now and actually progressing past the early game. With that being said, again, please let me know what you think about this update in the comments. If you have any questions, leave a comment as well. And if this video helped you out, I tried my best to simplify as much as I can. There was a lot of stuff in this video. Please consider subscribing if it did help you, or maybe watching some of my other videos. And I stream almost every single day, so if you want to talk to me directly, pull up to the stream. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much to my members: Blazefire, Shooms, Uju, Shagad, Ravi Espa, Grim4K, Koga, Pabo, Piconier, Jesse, Niles, and Dante Victory. I appreciate you guys so much.